Hi, my name is Elizabeth Green and I am one of the co-founders of an Amazon advertising agency called Junglr. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can find what Amazon thinks are the most important keywords for your brand. All right, so here we are inside of Seller Central, and what I am talking about is the new search query report. Now, if you have yet to go over this report, I highly suggest you do. How you're going to navigate to this particular report is you're going to go to brands and you're going to select brand analytics from the dropdown. That's gonna pull you up to this view right here, which is the typical brand analytics dashboard that we're all know and love. If you've never actually dug into brand analytics, again, it's another thing that is available to you providing you are brand registered. So yes, you have to be brand registered to access this. However, if you are, you will get access to this dashboard and you should see this new green header up at the top that says 2 of our new search analytic dashboards are live. So these are brand new and these are very exciting. So you're going to select view search analytics and that is going to take you to this search query performance beta dashboard. Now there is a search catalog performance, which again is another very interesting dashboard. There's a whole bunch of data that's kind of a theme with Amazon is they're giving us access to more and more data. However, this search query performance is phenomenal and I highly recommend you go and dig into it. Now I am going to go over some of the most interesting aspects to it, how you can view this, what some of these columns mean and how you can find them. If you want like a super in-depth analysis, I did a whole podcast episode with Michael from Ad Badger. I highly suggest if you want to learn more about this search query performance dashboard, recommend you go check this out. But let's go over the basics of this right now. So by default, under here on this brand dropdown, if you have more than one brand associated with your account, you can select your different brands from the dropdown here. Now, I do want to say, if you have a brand with a whole bunch of products, this search queries, or what is contained here in search queries, which are grayed out because this is an actual client account, but they will pertain to all of the products in your brand. So unfortunately, the more extensive your brand is, kind of the less incremental you're going to be able to get with this data. That being said, even for large brands, I still recommend you check this out because it's going to give you some really great insights into what search queries or customer searches Amazon thinks are very important to your specific brand. So if you go to this column right here, and again, if this was not grayed out, you would be able to see like what these specific searches are. And then you would notice this rank column. Now, if you want to get really in depth and nitty gritty with what all of these particular columns mean, honestly, I think a good way to shortcut that is going to be that podcast episode I did. I'm definitely going to link that down below. But you can go over this thing here, which is the metrics glossary. So if you want a definition, a more in-depth definition of all of these, you definitely can peruse it or just watch that podcast episode. But the one that I want to point out specifically is this rank, because I think it's very interesting to define this. Because if we go over to the search query volume. So this is actually Amazon telling us how much volume is on these specific search queries, which before for a lot of keyword tools, not that they're completely outdated. I don't think that this particular search query performance dashboard replaces those, but it definitely gives us a great addition to search and just kind of figure out what exact volumes are on specific customer searches. Just phenomenal first party data, not available before. But the interesting thing that I find when I first logged into this is, okay, so Amazon specifically ranks these search queries for my brand. So this is very brand specific. Amazon is saying these are what we rank the most important search queries for your specific brand. That's why this is phenomenal. But notice it's not necessarily by search volume. Search volume isn't the only thing Amazon looks at when it's looking at things that are relevant to your brand. So I do want to go through this definition definitions and just kind of define rank. And by default, it's going to look like this. If you want to start digging into stuff, you can click the see additional metric details here, and it goes even more in depth than what's just readily available. But the rank order queries from the top performance to least performance. So Amazon's saying these are your top performing searches for your specific brand, which again, this is Amazon. So they are looking at who's clicking on your product, who's searching your product, and actually let's go through and define. We use a combination of search funnel impressions, so who's actually just viewing your listing on the search pages, clicks, cart ads, and purchases of queries, and your own brand performance to compute a score for all the queries and rank them. So it is taking a look at shopper behavior in relation to your product and giving you a complete layout of which of your search queries are the most important for your brand, which is phenomenal. This can be used to help influence what you're doing with your listing, definitely influence what you're doing with your ads. I know it's definitely something that we are looking at for all of our client accounts. So let's dig in a little bit further beyond search volume, beyond ranking, and just kind of get an idea of what additional metrics we have in relation to this. Other bonus points is you can actually go back and select previous date ranges, which again, I find very interesting. But Amazon is determining that this is like our highest ranked search query for this specific brand. So hey, let's go through and let's just kind of see where we stand out from the competition that's available inside this particular dashboard. So if I was going through here and just sliding over, I can look at search funnel clicks. I think the thing that I find the most interesting are these brand share percentage columns. So what percentage of like total clicks, what's my brand share of the clicks? How many clicks am I getting? If I push up my ads, can I gain more click share and perhaps gain ranking on these? So these are already the shopper searches that Amazon is saying, hey, we think work very well for your brand. So if we were to say use ads to push a little bit harder on these specific searches, can we help influence, can we gain more click share from or for our specific brand? Can we help influence and maybe get even more visibility for our particular products? All right, so let's go over even further because I do find this brand share click percentage great, but there's some even cooler metrics here that I'm totally digging. So add to carts. Absolutely. I find add to carts, like how many shoppers not only are clicking on our product, but then how many of them are actually adding to the cart? Because add to carts and lastly, purchases, I think are probably some of the most important. So you can actually take a look at who is purchasing, like what's your purchase brand share percentage for all the purchases on a specific search, which again is not something we actually even had any visibility whatsoever. I don't care how good your data aggregation methods were, we just couldn't get this level of granularity anywhere else before, and so there's some really important call outs I think for this particular dashboard. If you want to look into additional columns and customize your columns here, I do recommend you explore that. One of the things that I find kind of the most interesting here is this, okay, so we're looking at the purchase funnel here. I do find it interesting to look at this price median and then your brand price median. And if you just click save, it will add a couple additional columns here. And it says out of all the like kind of the purchase rates on this product, what's kind of like the average price median for shoppers who are actually purchasing products. So this is going to give us again shopper search level data on what the actual what the median price points are for people who are purchasing, again, using that specific shopper search. So we all know we've been, looking at our top keywords and we're trying to figure out, okay, so the market is lowering their prices. How much is that going to hurt me? I think this new search query dashboard, although a lot of it is intended to look at, again, specific shopper searches that Amazon, again, deems very important to your brand, brands, but it also can give you an idea on like specific price points in the space, which again, I think is very valuable. And I do appreciate, although it is aggregated at a brand level, so again, larger brands, if you only have a single product, you know exactly that these particular shopper searches apply to that specific product. If you have a very large brand, you may be able to infer a little bit just kind of based on the wording that's in the shopper search, but I do appreciate that they have broken out into individual brands. So if you are a very large account that has quite a few different brands, you will be able to gain like incremental insights there. So if you haven't gone through yet and looked at your search query performance dashboard and what search queries Amazon says are most important to your products and to your brand, I highly recommend that you go through here and give this a good look. If you want, again, a much more in-depth analysis on all of these columns, kind of how they relate to one another, again, I'll link that podcast I did with Ad Badger down below. So I hope that was helpful. I really hope you dig into this report. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. I will make sure to get them answered, and I will see you in the next one.